how to steer clear of a T-bone. Welcome to episode 55 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus podcast. With the help of one of our viewers and the wisdom of veteran crash investigator and driver safety expert Mike Pehl, we're going to study ways that you can avoid a T-bone. But before we hand it over to Mike, we want to hand it over to Natasha Johnson to introduce us how this topic came to be. Natasha?
Yes, so this is from Martin, and he lives in Canada. He says, "Hi, Mike. I watched your video about avoiding T-bone crashes after this incident. I drive tractor trailers and have always been vigilant around intersections, especially after some firefighters told me about these horrible T-bone accident scenes a long time ago. This accident involved a loaded 4-axle tanker truck hitting an SUV broadside, involving a teacher and 4 high school girls coming back from a softball tournament. The tractor hit the SUV broadside, then veered left, and the SUV hit another car coming the other way, and the tractor ended up in a field on the left. They said the SUV ran a stop sign. I've looked at the intersection photos and don't believe the truck driver did enough to limit the damage he could have caused in this accident. The truck was going west on Thorndale and the SUV north on Cobble Hills Road. Fairly open, flat area on all sides of the intersection. Truck ended up in southwest corner of intersection. I've attached photos of the kids involved. To me, the actions of the driver look selfish. He could have slowed down and even left the road on the right side. He ended up leaving the road on the left anyway. I've been sickened by this accident because I was trained at Humber College by an accident reconstruction consultant and trained in Smith System highway training. I've never been in a situation where I've had to make a panic stop, and I've hauled heavy too. These girls and the teacher never deserved to die in this horrific fashion. I myself was a volunteer helping run kids' sports leagues, and it's been difficult for me to deal with this as a truck driver. I know people in the Walkerton area. It's a close-knit community with successful kids' sports leagues and activities, and this accident has hurt this community badly. If there's no criminal charges, I hope there's a huge insurance lawsuit coming for the trucking company and the driver involved."
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
This is hard. It's always hard, especially when you got the lives of, 4 young people, 1 adult. Doesn't matter. If anybody has ever heard me over the years talk about this stuff, I always talk that we have a guilty party and we have an innocent party. And the innocent people, I have the right of way people, can change the outcome of every crash if they knew how to do it, and if they just looked for it. And what most people do is they steer the car. That's all they do is they steer. And they're clueless on the road. They steer the car. And I've always taught that I can teach a 10-year-old how to steer a car down the road. I can keep a 10-year-old between the lines. But when disaster strikes, what can the 10-year-old do then? And if you don't practice this stuff in your mind, which we teach a lot in class, you don't wait till you need it to use it. It's too late. It goes right back to our A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We learn that young, and it sticks with us forever and ever and ever. It's never going away. And the same thing when we get behind that wheel. T-bones are our number 2 killer in car accidents, almost our number 1. So what does it tell you? It happens a lot. So for you out there, are you lucky or are you good? Because there's only 2 things. If you're good, meaning you're watching for them every intersection, every time, You cross another street. It could be a kid on a bike. It could be a car. It could be a cop chasing somebody. Something's going to be there. You're about to be blindsided, and nobody likes that. Get paranoid in a car. How many times have you heard me say that? Get paranoid. All right. It is not a safe place. This thing kills more people than anything we have that kills people in every, you combine them. Here's your killer right here, guys. And there's no pill to fix it. It's called common sense, called being smart. So, anyway, Martin, thank you. I grew up on semis, and I love how you say I've been trained because I hear your words that my dad would speak. Today's rules to drive a semi, and I want everybody, you know what, to survive in car incidences, you better be a defensive driver because we don't train the way we used to train. And when I drive down the freeways and on the roads, I look at semi drivers and I go, that guy would never work for my dad. That guy would never work for my dad. There ain't no way if my dad saw, he's turning in the grave right now. He just saw that. You know what? In saying that, we have millions worse. The truck is an incident that's a huge thing. It's 80,000 pounds. All right. But now we have that can destroy. It's like a freight train off the track. And now we put that in with all the people that don't really want to learn in the states that don't have the driver's education, where we read a book to pass a test. Think about it. What do we really do when it comes to avoid accidents in our driver's education curriculums? Very few things, very few. And I hate to just attack it, but you know what? It needs to be attacked, I guess, right? So anyway, let's get to it. So Martin, thank you, and thank you. I hear what you're saying. The driver could have done something different. And let's just talk about mistakes the driver made. So as I read Martin's story and I visualize it and I look at the intersection, man, there is so many. Remember, I talk in our classes about room to live, room to live. Look for the room. It's to the right. It's always there. Almost 99.9% of the time, you have room to live to the right. Don't get stuck in that left lane because when you're stuck in it, then you cannot go right. That's your 0.1% that you made your mistake. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Should the trucker have seen this? Absolutely. If we are taught to look up, this is not a blind intersection. I don't care who's running what red light, what stop sign. You, the driver coming into an intersection, and you don't have a stop sign. Aren't you looking for people out there to run that stop sign? And without putting a mindset on this heavy equipment operator, this truck driver, was his attitude, if somebody gets in my way, I'll just take them out? Because I want you to know a lot of truckers have that attitude. You get in my way, I have the right of way. You shouldn't have been there. You're the one that's going to lose. Why do you think these trucks are pulling out in front of us in nowadays? Have you noticed that? Everybody out there.
Mhm.
The little tiny gap, big semi just pulls out. Why? Because they know you're going to stop. You're not going to run into
Mhm.
that. So once again, I
Well, and the roads are getting so much more
yeah,
congested and
yes,
with trucks and just cars.
yes, we can
It's
almost
scary.
do a whole 3-hour classroom on this because one of the defensive things we teach about on the T-bones is you can tell a car, truck, whatever is going to pull out in front of you by watching the front tires. Front tires never lie. They tell you which way it's going. If it's starting to roll, that means their foot's on the gas. When they're coming up to a stop sign, you can tell if they're going to run the stop sign by how the tire is starting to slow down. Okay, or is it still going the same speed? See, when you're coming up, you can see all that. So, hey, we have somebody that made a mistake. B, the trucker, if the trucker would have just slammed its brakes on, this car probably would have got all the way through the intersection without even getting hit. If the alleged saying is, there was thought that they ran the stop sign stoplight, okay? But even just, it doesn't take long at 60 miles an hour to get through an intersection. It just happened that two things met in the intersection. And our rule of thumb, our rule as a defensive driver is we will never, ever, 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 ever T-bone somebody. We'll never hit between the wheels. When we hit between the wheels, we kill people. And if that trucker would have just, remember the saying said, he went left. Well, when you go left, you're going with that crash and you're making that, you can't avoid that crash then. You're putting yourself more in the middle of the crash. If he would have went right, and we always say, take the tire to the right. Remember that? That spins that car out. It just, if their seat belts are worn properly, and that car even goes into a roll, as long as it's not hit by another vehicle, chances are they're going to walk out of there or they're going to survive it. So, guys, it's going to get right back to this. Look, look, look. I say to my students when they don't look on their behind the wheels, look and you live. Why didn't you look at that? At least look to my side because I do want to live. I'm riding in this right seat. You owe it to me as the driver to protect my life. And I don't want to get hit in my door because I want you to know this. If you get hit in the door that you sit by, you will be absolutely crushed. Your seatbelt locks you in and it holds you down. And I don't care how big the car is. Unfortunately, this was a 80,000 pound semi loaded. Man, it's going to do some serious damage. But let's just take this. A pickup, a car that hits you in your door, you are sitting in nothing but air. It's a box and it's going to collapse. And the worst part of it is you are bolted to the floor, which means as that car comes through the other car, I hate to say this, you are in the way and you don't survive it. So, even the car that made the mistake, if they would have looked left and looked right instead of been in the conversation in the car, I'm just telling you, there is no way that 5 people in that car were looking at an intersection. Remember, ride safe and what? Drive safe and
yeah, ride safe.
Ride safe.
We need good
Okay.
co-pilots.
Yes, it would have taken one of the passengers to say, watch out, watch out. Or we got a stop sign coming up. Oh, it's a red light. You feel it coming in. I want to know where the 5 mines were, but we can't. We can't find that out. And that's called crashes, guys. You know what? They're not accidents. Accidents are avoidable, preventable. Crashes kill people. In this tragedy for the town. Every town goes through it. Every state goes through it. It's happening right now as we talk somewhere. Someone's getting T-boned. But guess what? If we get back to the basics, get paranoid in that car, start looking left. The reason we look left first, guys, first lane of traffic that hits you. Left, right, left, right. Or let's put it this way, left, straight, right. Left, straight, right. Get back to what's going on in front of you too. And if we avoid between the tires and tire to the right, man, we're not going to fix it. But if we just got people, I want you to cut this section out of this podcast and put your friends in front of it and say, if a car pulls out in front of you, where are you going to hit them? Because you now can become a trainer out there, a teacher out there, and we can save more lives together, I guess. So, yeah, bad thing. Thank you, Martin. Because what I like also here, Martin, is not only do our kids send in the enrichments, we got adults that are watching this stuff. So see, we don't get paid for these podcasts. Us 3 sit here voluntarily because we want to save another life. All right. Now we need more of you out there to save lives. And for you youngsters out there that are sitting in classrooms saying, "Ah, man, I got to do another enrichment today." I want you to know how many lives you just saved because you're the reason we started this. So is to keep this stuff from happening. So anyway, I'll go on forever. So I'm going to zip it right now. And again, thank you, Martin. Thank you, kids out there. Guys, share these podcasts because you know what? You don't know how far it goes. We have friends in London. We have, I mean, you got people all over that
Mhm.
it just spreads. So spread the good news. Let's put it that way.
That's great. Well, thanks, Mike. As always,
Mhm.
you have good answers, good stories, and good tips for everyone. And we are truly appreciate people that watch this. And I know even from the over almost 13 years when I met you, you had such great information to save people. So I'm grateful as well. And of course, if you want to listen to or share our podcast with your friends and family, you can check out our other episodes by going to drivesaferidesafe.com/podcast, or you can go to youtube.com/drivesaferidesafe1, which is actually has a channel not only with our podcast, but also a number of, well, I'll say hundreds actually, of tips and tricks that Mike has helped us create to help other people become smarter, safer drivers. And of course, we want to give a shout out by emailing, if you want to give us a shout, and email us your suggestions or stories. You can go to drivesaferidesafe@gmail.com. And of course, this has been episode 56 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus podcast. Actually, I think it's 55. Sorry, 55. And I'm Jane Newell, and we want to remind you to
Drive safe.
Ride safe.
.com. Was a little
Bye, everyone.
That was my fault.
Save a life.